Hello guys and welcome back to Hashtag Decor. Today we're discussing something new, so we hope you enjoyed this video.
Recessed lighting. Sure, it will illuminate your home, but there's so much more to it than that. To take full advantage of what recessed lighting has to offer in terms of both functionality and aesthetic charm, it's essential to get the layout just right. And we have some recessed lighting layout tips you should know before you begin. Recessed lighting is a light fixture that's installed into the hollow area of a ceiling. And to be completely forthright, getting the layout of your recessed lighting just right will take a bit of research and simple calculation on your part. Never fear, though, we're going to help walk you through exactly what you'll need to know and how to get that information so that your lights shine perfectly. Start by defining your goal. Before you start, you need to define what goal you have in mind for your recessed lighting. For example, you will need to determine whether you want to highlight specific items in the room to create a visual focal point, or perhaps you simply want to incorporate lighting to brighten the entire room with warm light. The overarching goal of your lighting will determine the layout style and individual calculations that you will use. Here are 3 primary types of lighting goals that will likely alter the layout calculations that you use. Ambient lighting. Ambient lighting is used to illuminate your entire room. It should offer a comfortable, evenly dispersed glow without being overpowering in its brightness. Ambient lighting generally begins with a lighting source in the center of the room that you can then use to evenly space your recessed lighting around. Accent lighting. Accent lighting can be used to highlight a specific item or wall. For example, you might want accent lighting to illuminate that gorgeous piece of abstract expressionist fine art you recently purchased with a wall wash of light. Task lighting. Task lighting is used in areas where you work so that you can reduce eye strain. For example, you might want to install recessed lights under your kitchen cabinets or under a decorative stove hood. After all, you need to be able to fully see what you're doing as you prep that balsamic-tinged chicken carpes dish. Dust off those artistic talents and sketch the room. Once you fully understand the goal of the recessed lighting, it's time to start sketching out the room and the rough layout on paper. No abstract expressionism here though, please. This sketch will serve as a rough guide for you. Use graph paper to make sure your sketch is more accurate. And be sure to take measurements with your trusty measuring tape. Then, use a scale on your graph paper so that you understand the actual dimensions. Make certain to take plenty of time as you sketch your room and its major contents. During these planning stages, accuracy is highly important. It's helpful to make several photocopies of your sketch. This can aid you by allowing you to sketch several different patterns without having to take measurements of your room each time. Recessed lighting layout tips and formulas. The following formulas and rules of thumb are keys to getting your layout just right. Ceiling height formula. Taking stock of your ceiling height is important for a well-lit room. It can provide you a solid understanding of both the number of lights and how far apart to space them. Take the height of your ceiling and divide it in half. For instance, if you have a 10-foot ceiling, you will want to space your light fixtures approximately 5 feet apart. This will give you a baseline idea. However, you can make adjustments based on the decor of your room and its general brightness and place your lights a bit closer together or further apart, accordingly. Distance between lights. This is one consideration where the goal of your lighting becomes important. Ambient lighting. To determine the distance between your recessed lights when you plan to provide ambient lighting in a room, you will first need to determine the length of the room and the total number of lights per row that you need to illuminate it. You will then divide the room length by the total number of lights per row to obtain the exact distance between the lights in the row. You should then complete the same steps for the width of the room. Wattage. In order to determine the wattage that you will need to light your entire room, you can use these general formulas. Length by width by 1.5 is equal to the wattage. So, for a room that is 15 feet long by 10 feet wide, the total wattage needed would be 15 by 10 by 1.5, which is equal to 225 watts. For a room this size, the number of bulbs that you will use will depend on the wattage of the bulbs you choose. If you will be choosing 40-watt bulbs, you would need 6 bulbs so that you have at least 225 watts lighting up your room. 6 by 40 is equal to 240. In this case, a 5-bulb layout would not sufficiently light your room at only 200 watts. Length of the room. For the length of the room, the 6 total lights need can be broken out into 2 rows of 3 lights. With this lighting layout, the distance formula for your 15 by 10 room would look like this. 15 length over 3 total lights per row equals 5 feet between lights along the length of the room. Distance from the walls. Now, to get the distance from the wall, you can divide the length between the lights in half, which would be equal 5 feet over 2, which is equal to 2.5 feet. Width of the room. You would then need apply the formula to the width of the room. This would be width over the number of lights in the row, or 10 feet over 2 lights, which is equal to 5 feet between lights across the width of the room. As before, the distance from the wall would be 2.5 feet. And there's your ambient lighting spacing. Not too bad, right? Task lighting. If your goal is to use your recessed lights as a task lighting, you will use the same formula as for ambient lighting, unless your task area is close to a wall. If it is, measure the distance from the ceiling to the surface that you want to illuminate rather than to the floor. Then divide this distance by 4 to determine how far away from the wall to place your lights. Accent lighting. If you plan to illuminate an entire wall or accent particular architectural features or pieces of art, the rule of thumb is to place your recessed light fixtures between 1.5 feet and 3 feet from the wall. If your fixtures are fixed, they should be placed a bit closer to the wall. If they are adjustable, it is fine for you to place them a bit further from the wall. From there, the individual fixtures should be spaced evenly from each other.
Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to us so you wouldn't miss a video if you haven't already subscribed. And of course, share this video with your friends if you liked it. And let us know in the comments below if you have any inquiries or questions.